back, and we back, and we back. Episode 145, and we back, and we back. And Chicago Wieners sweatshirt on Tapia. New sweatshirt. Michael's at the fucking cabin, evidently. Logs all around. Bush lights all around.
I'm gonna take baby mama to my feet.
Out here at the log cabin up in Minnesota there, bud.
Damn.
Tapia looking like the glizzy god in that sweatshirt.
Dude,
The glizzy gladiator, son.
I actually was trying to get the gray one, which they said they had online. When I went to the game, they only had the black one.
That's good. You don't want gray. You'd be sweating right through that B.
Trust me, I would know. My whole wardrobe's gray.
I was like, Chicago Wieners koozie.
He
Nice.
got a wiener koozie.
Also
what does that
went-
look like?
I also went specifically because it was Star Wars night. Ballin'.
Big ballin'.
Baller, dude.
Dude, it was
Like
cool.
freaking R2D2.
Yeah, and BB-8 was there, Kylo Ren, it was a great time.
Not a Star
Kylo
Wars
Ren,
guy.
it sounds like it would be a fighter in like Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, cross-platform. Also, saw Doing the Dogs throw a 104-mile fastball.
That's it?
What was it called? Zambrano?
Yeah.
Oh, he retired last year.
Oh.
That's
Again?
stupid. He should at least be a bench coach.
Also, how have we not gone on a Wednesday, all three of us together? It's all you can eat Wiener Wednesdays.
Well, this is new information to me, so that's why we have not gone yet.
Dude, well, Ty and I already talked about being season ticket holders with the Schaumburg Boomers.
Yeah.
And, this year was going to be the year, but it fell through. So maybe next year.
I think I still get emails from the Chicago Dogs about their like packages and their tickets and
Dude, Thursdays is $2 cans of beer.
yeah.
We should be there
Just go to
every
your
Wednesday,
local
Thursday.
bar and get a PBR for $2, 16 ounce.
Yeah,
Like
there you
Miller
go.
High Life, and I forgot what the other one is.
Champagne and beers, baby.
Yeah.
So
Only the
everybody
best.
back.
Only the best.
Impact Field, find us there.
Anyways, podcast 145. We have a guest later on this episode. We recorded it last week. Rum Bunter on Twitter. Marty is his name, if you were wondering. You'll find out if you just keep listening. But we interviewed him last week. Bunch of Pirates talk, bunch of baseball talk.
Very well versed. Very
A
well.
lot of trivia. Apparently, Marty is just the trivia wizard. The
Yeah,
Glizzy Wizzy.
he only got
You-
stumped when we asked him about a team from 110 years ago,
Yeah.
111 years ago.
The dude knows his Pittsburgh trivia. That's for goddamn sure. So we got that coming
And
up.
he's our
Hour and a half?
age. So it's like that's a terrible excuse for us to not know
I
that
was
stuff.
not in the room when you guys were talking about how old he was. I missed that part. You said he's only 28.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, yeah, way to insult him and say, like, I know you're older than us.
Well, he is older than me, so I'm not, it's true. It's not insulting if it's true, I guess. It's
Just-
what they
Yeah,
say,
but
right?
his Pittsburgh trivia knowledge is light years ahead of ours.
Like, doesn't even fucking compare. The man knows his shit, and evidently so. I mean, he's got a huge following on Twitter.
Huge.
Very good at writing. He's a blogger, I think, first and foremost. Just started a podcast. You'll figure it all out if you just keep listening to this episode right here, right now. But yeah, lots going on in the sports world this week.
Yeah.
Trade
That's
deadline.
Messy.
Trade deadline come and gone now. No moves out of the Pirates. We talked to Marty about what he thought was going to happen because that was before the fact. But now that it's happened, nothing. What do we get rid of? Jared Dyson to the Sox?
For international money,
Yeah, for international money.
which I don't even know what that means.
I don't think it really means anything. I think it's just
It's
they
like
got rid
when
of him for
Jackie
money.
Moon traded Ed Monix for a washing machine.
Yeah.
Well, we brought up Brian Hayes.
Yeah,
Yes, that's the
makes
only
his
thing we
debut
did.
tonight. He's sitting in the 7 slot, playing third
How
base.
does that game start?
Doesn't matter, man. They're playing the Cubs.
Yeah.
About to get stomped.
I mean, he can't be any worse than the White Sox.
And they're playing. I think Lester's pitching.
Hmm.
So
That's fine, dude. One time, dude, what was it like 2 years ago? Pirates put up 10 on Lester and like won it.
Yeah, don't the Pirates kind of always play well against the Cubs for no reason at all?
only when it matters for the Cubs.
Well, it all kind of matters this year. So
I mean, yeah, they're
the
in
hoping.
first,
Also,
but
not to take away from this series. Can we talk about Josh Bell in a home run hitting a car in Milwaukee?
Hey, it's about time you hit a home run, first of all.
yeah. And when I first heard that, I was like, bro, how do you hit it out of the park in Milwaukee?
That's exactly what when I read that. I was
And
like,
then I watched it, and it was like, okay, that ball was only hit 428. It was nothing. The headline was made it. It was clickbait. It's like
Well-
I've seen Josh Bell hit home runs like that all the time.
I saw the hit. Like, I watched
It
the
was sick,
video and I
though.
saw the hit, and I saw there's a giant billboard out there in right center with a car on it. And I thought he hit the fucking sign because I didn't watch enough of the video to see where the ball ended up. But I thought it was like, oh, ha, he hit a car. It's funny.
I thought he hit a ball into the parking lot, which would have been insane.
Way fucking cool.
Oh, over 500 feet.
you would have got tested right away for fucking steroids.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, well,
But that's sick because I was watching the game or highlights or something, and Josh Bell was saying that he, it's always been a goal of his to hit that car, but he's never, he's tried all the time in BP. But they said because of the cage, the bubble, for BP, he couldn't get it up that high, no issue. So finally, in a game, he was able to do it. So shout out to Josh Bell for that.
So no issue getting it high now.
It's pretty sick. What's not sick is, the Pirates just stink.
Also, for a split second, I forgot that we had traded Starlet Marte to the D-backs.
And now he's a Marlin.
Yeah, and the headline was Marte to the Marlins. I go, what? I was like, we're trading him? And then I go, wait. I was like, he's not even on the fucking team.
did you see the Marlins lineup yesterday?
No.
It consisted of 5 former Pirates. Their starting lineup:
Yeah.
Dickerson.
Let's hear it.
Their outfield was Matt Joyce, Dickerson, and Marte. And then that might have been all that I saw.
Did you recognize?
So I guess it really wasn't that many.
But it was it's a Pirates outfield. And, I mean, we were so hyped for Corey Dickerson, and Marte was great. Remember at one point we had Marte, Polanco, and McCutcheon in the outfield? Yeah. That was nasty. And honestly, on a brighter side of things, how about an outfield featuring Willie Stargell and Roberto Clemente?
That was balling.
49 years ago today, Pittsburgh Pirates, first MLB team to field all black starting 9. That's incredible.
That's what.
Shouts out the Pirates. It's because they always been real ones like that.
Yo, is it the Doc Ellis documentary where they bring that up?
Yeah, and what this picture I'm looking at is September 1st, 1971. You got Al Oliver at first base, Roberto Clemente in right field, Willie Stargell on the left. I think his name's Dave Cash at third base, Manny Stanguin, if I didn't say it already, behind the plate, and Doc Ellis, pitcher. It's like, dude,
That's
it's 1971? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Shout out to them.
Shout out
And
to
I
them.
think that was the last time they were good. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Shout out to 1979 team.
That was literally 1979.
We are family.
All right. Let's just fucking hop in while we're on the baseball roll here.
While
with the
we're on a
Pirates
good
shit.
baseball note, let's roll into
Let's
Rum
just
Bunter.
roll into Rum Bunter. Hope you guys enjoy it as much as we did. Very, very knowledgeable guy, Marty, over at
informational,
Rum
yeah.
Bunter.
Yeah. I was like, let's
Make sure- Make sure to check him out too. Rumbunter.com, I think, was his website. It's probably all there. They just started a podcast and shit.
Yeah,
He's
it's
got a blog.
rumbunter.com, part of the Fan-Sided Sports Network. You can find him on Twitter at Rum Bunter.
There you go. Fucking heard it here. All right. Well, here he is. Marty, Rum Bunter. Pirates. Baseball. Fun.
Next.
Words. Next. All right. We've got Marty from Rum Bunter. That's what it's called, right? Rum Bunter is the name of your blog and
Correct.
Twitter
The blog. Yeah, it's rumbunter.com it's owned by Fansided through the Fansided sets of sports blogs, and that's on Twitter. We're just at Rumbunter, and same thing on Facebook, facebook.com/Rumbunter.
Love it. Love it. Well, thanks for joining us, man. Thanks for coming on. Glad we can make this work out. Glad I didn't fuck it up again like I did last week, leaving out
Yeah.
letters and email addresses and shit.
Well, like I
Wait.
said, I felt bad too because I never got the email. I'm like, oh, maybe something's up, so I'll message you on Twitter, and then I didn't realize till an hour later that the Twitter message never sent. So
Yeah,
it was
that's no worries, dude.
operator error on both ends there.
I'll take the
So
blame on that 100%. But anyway, you're here. It's good to have you. Thanks for coming on, man.
thanks for having me on. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, talk some Pirates baseball, like we said, for
Oh,
whether that's good or bad. I'm not really sure. Before we get into the Pirates, though, man, I'm sure you guys, Michael and Alex, have questions for him as well. I'm just intrigued, like this whole Rum Bunter thing. Like, tell me about this. Like, how'd you get into this? And
and what is
Well,
Rum Bunter?
yeah,
Well,
just
whenever I'm the co-editor of the site, the other co-editor's name is Nick Caparoso. Nick and I have been best friends since college. So whenever we got into it, we previously started a different website, which was called Clementi's Wall. And it had a decent little following on Twitter. It was nothing special. We just kind of did because we like to go in there and complain about the Pirates. And what happened was Rum Bunter needed a new site editor, and Fansided reached out to him about taking over the site as the editor, and then he brought me on. He said to them about bringing me on as well, so we became the co-editors. So we have nothing to do with the name of the site. The site was already named when we took over, which was back in March 2016.
Okay.
So it's a good name. I like it. It fits because you get the bunter with the bunting with the baseball part, and the rum part ties into both like actual Pirates and watching the Pirates, because if you're a fan of the Pittsburgh Pirates, they're going to drive you to drink a lot. So it all fits in well. Whoever came up with the name did a good job with it.
Cheers to that.
yeah. Well, that was my first thought too. Like when we started following you, I was like, I wonder if the rum has to do with alcohol and
Yes.
needing it while you're watching the game.
Yeah. And like I said, it's just perfect because, you think of Pirates, like actual Pirates, you think of them drinking rum. And like I say, you think of the Pittsburgh Pirates and you think of the amount of liquid medication that comes along with being a fan of this team.
It's like the current Pirates are playing drunk.
It really
Yeah.
is some nights,
Yeah.
yes.
Specifically last night.
Last night, yes. I mean, they just look hell. Like the bad part about that was it was the second inning. Giolito had faced 6 batters. And I said on Twitter, so he's throwing a no-hitter tonight. You can see it. They have no shot. They're totally helpless against him. And sure enough, he made it happen.
Dude, well, in that last inning, they were just swinging at everything.
Yeah. And like the bad part was whenever Gonzalez flew out to end the game, I thought it was going to be a clean hit to the right field
Yes.
because of how well he hit
Yeah.
it, and it was slicing towards the line. Like, all right, the right fielder's not going to get over and get it. And sure enough, he did. But like the one like decent swing they had all night, of course, comes
Yeah.
on the last swing of the game.
Well, last year, didn't one of the Pirates hit a home run on like Mike Hill when they were
It
like,
was-
playing?
Yeah, it was 2 years ago. It
Okay,
was,
it was.
yeah. Hill had a no hitter in the 10th inning.
Yeah,
And Josh Harrison had a walk off home run.
that's what it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was the only game in Major. As far as I know, it's still the only game in Major League history where the team's only hit was a walk off hit.
That's
Damn.
so badass.
That
Yeah.
is
I
badass.
miss Josh Harrison.
Yeah, that was like, especially a season like that where like they weren't very good, but at least you had like that couple fun memories like that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this year's been tough for sure. And like, especially yesterday. So like you're just saying, Giolito, White Sox throws the first no-hitter of the fucking year against the Pirates, who I think only has one person, maybe 2 on the lineup that's hitting over 200 so far this season.
Based on the app, they've got 3, and it's Newman, Moran, and Reynolds. But Reynolds is barely squeaking by at 205.
Yeah, and then Newman and Moran haven't played the last 2 days because Moran's got a concussion. Well, he's being checked for, and Newman's got some sort of abdominal issue. So, and I think the in yesterday's game, the best batting average in the starting lineup was Eric Gonzalez at like 260 or something like that, and then I think Cole Tucker is around the same. But other than that, it's not. And the
Right.
problem, they're not hitting for any power, so it's slapping a bunch of singles around the yard isn't really going to do a whole lot for you.
And not to take away from Giolito and the game that he threw, or Giolito, whatever the fuck, Gelato, call him
Put some
whatever.
respect on his name, dude.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm a Sox fan too. That's fucked up.
And we're in Chicago, and
Yeah,
we
we're
don't
in
like
Chicago.
the Cubs.
If you didn't know, Marty, so we're
Fuck the Cubs.
Yeah, as long as you guys don't like the Cubs, it's all good.
no,
Oh,
no,
yeah,
no,
no, we're good.
We're Sox guys over here.
Oh, dude, through and through.
Well, we're
I can get on
Pirates
board
guys.
with that because I was actually very excited for this series because that lineup they have,
killer line.
they're good. Yeah, they're going to be really good for a long time. So it was a lot of fun to watch them in person.
Yeah, but I don't want to take anything away from the performance that Giolito had yesterday, but like at the same time, again, 3 Pirates hitting over 200 on the season, like bound to happen.
Yeah,
Had to happen.
Like,
Maybe.
he even said after the game, I forget like what the exact quote on it was, but it was something along the lines of, I think it was in the 7th inning, and he had 6 more outs to go, and he looked up at who the 6 batters was.
He
He was going
saw
to have
who
to
he had
face.
to face.
Yeah, and he was like, "I can do this," or this is very reasonable," or something
Yeah.
like that. Where like he even knew like, okay, these guys suck. There's nothing they can do.
Yeah, I had tweeted going into the 9th, where's Jose Tabata?
Tabata, yeah, I saw that all over Twitter, and I loved it because that
Like, that would have been perfect.
it would have been just have him get out there and somehow get it. I honestly, I was kind of disappointed, and like I know this is like borderline bush league, but like I don't care. I don't want to get no hit. When Polanco came up with 2 outs in the 8th, and they had that big shift on, he should just put a bunt right down at third base line and just
Like, who was it that leaned into the one?
Jose
Tabata,
Tabata.
Oh, is that what you just said?
Yeah,
Okay,
he
yeah.
should have laid that bunt down and just flipped Giolito the bird as he was trotting to first base. It would have been terrific.
Yeah.
I'm sure
said-
nobody in today's game would have gotten pegged, at all.
No, and I don't think like the fans or the media would be very upset with it. You
No,
know,
not
like
at
the
all.
Fernando Tatis deal.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah,
We've
God,
talked
I hate-
about that, by the way, at nauseum.
It just it angers me. The Tatis thing, it just bugs me is baseball is always they're always pushing us, let the kids play, make the game more fun, this, that, and the other thing. So you have the guy's probably the most fun player in the league, and you're getting ticked off at him because he's hitting grand slams. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Because he's pimping baseballs.
Yeah.
Grow up.
And it's like even like I don't even want to hear about running up the score because like don't even like someone said to me about like, oh, it's not little league, and I'm like, well, my 10-year-old little league team this year, like they don't have mercy rule innings anymore. Like,
Yeah.
it's part of playing a sport.
Good.
You're gonna get your
That's
ass
huge.
beat sometimes.
They
You gotta take
shouldn't.
it. Yeah,
Because
I
guess
love
what?
that.
You get to high school, there's no
Mhm.
mercy rule at all.
exactly. You got to find your way out of the inning.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
Wait, there's not in high school. I know high school soccer there is. It's like
really?
yeah, it's
Well-
like I think at least in Illinois, if you're up by like I think it's like 5 or 6 goals at half, they cut the second half in half.
See, the only thing I know of in Pennsylvania is what they have for football is if you're up by more than 35 in the second half, the clock will only stop for
Yeah.
change of possession, injury, and timeout. So they get the running clock, which will kind of, speed the game up a little bit, but they don't really have anything in terms of like an actual mercy rule. They're not going to cut the game short or anything. They just speed it up.
Right.
It's fair.
Yeah, I don't know. They're trying to speed the whole game of baseball up. We talked about this again ad nauseum too. Like just all the changes in the MLB lately is like, why? I'll never understand.
Yeah, it's tough.
Pitch clocks, minimum batters you need to face when you come into pitch, shit like that. Just
The no issue blowing up the catcher at home plate. Like
Yeah.
that.
yeah,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
really the minimum batter rule is one that I really I hate it. It's stupid. I'm all for the universal DH. Like I feel like most people are, but the minimum batter thing out of the bullpen, like, and the bad part about that is too, I'm kind of surprised the Players Association doesn't fight that more because that's going to end a lot of guys' careers early. You're going to have like these lefty specialists who might hang around for 3 or 4 years,
Yep.
just because they get lefties out who aren't going to have a job anymore because they're not going to want you facing righties. So.
Right. Like the minimum batter, it should be 1. You have
Yeah.
to face 1 batter.
One guy, yeah. As long as you come out and finish that at bat without it, unless you get hurt or something,
Right.
like that should be enough.
Right. Yeah. Like you're just completely eliminating the term lefty specialist.
Exactly.
I don't get it.
Nope.
But I
That's
do
a
want to.
bummer.
I want to hear your thoughts on the universal DH because I think the 3 of us here agreed that. I mean, as a baseball fan, Ty said we're football guys. Like I'm a baseball guy.
we and him, yeah, me and Michael played baseball
But-
our whole lives.
It's like we all like to. If you're playing on the field, if you're on the roster, like you're gonna play the game. So if you're pitching, you're still gonna hit. That's what makes the most sense to us. But I get in the sense that if you're trying to bring people to the ballpark, you want to see people that could actually hit.
The biggest
So-
reason
Yeah, let's hear your side.
the biggest reason I love the universal DH is I can't stand watching pitchers hit because by the time they get to the major league level, they have no idea how to hit because they haven't done it in so long that it's just there's so much about it that irks me. It's not even just watching them hit. I also can't stand if you have a guy that's throwing a gem, but you get in the 6th, 7th inning and your offense doesn't give you any run support, so you have to get yanked for a pinch hitter. They still don't score it, and then the bullpen blows. Like even just things like that. I don't like it. Now, I think it would be different if pitchers hit in the minors. I think it would be totally different because they would get to the major leagues and not be totally incompetent. But if you're going to have the DH in one league, you got to have it's got to be universal, one or the other. Either got to have a universal DH or no DH whatsoever. And I think at this point, like I said, pitchers, and I think you're even seeing it spill into high school to an extent when you get these guys who they know they're talented. They're not going to go up there and hit. They're going to try and avoid it because they don't want to get by pitch or something and ruin it. They're just going to focus on pitching. So I think a lot of these, pitchers who, as their kids and in high school, or elite high school pitchers who are going to make the majors one day, rather be out of a bullpen or whatever, they don't even hit a lot in high school anymore. So you have these kids who, maybe they haven't hit regularly since they're 13, 14 years old. You can't expect them to touch major league pitching, and that's the biggest reason why I'm very pro universal DH. That, and like I said, I hate seeing a game get derailed because you have to pull a pitcher who's cruising because his offense isn't doing enough, and then bullpen blows it up or whatever it might be.
Yeah. And I think in our argument for the other side of it, it's a case where the pitcher should always be hitting.
Yeah.
And like going up high school, college, minors. Yeah.
And I agree that if that was the case, I think it would be totally different. Because like I said, you could get these guys in the major leagues and would actually look like they belong at the plate.
Yeah.
And wouldn't be automatic out. So.
But now that I think about it, it's like, because I've seen buddies that could hit the ball pretty well, but they stopped hitting in high school and college. So let's say that they don't stop hitting. Do we think that those pitchers would still get as far in their career as a pitcher if they're not focusing strictly on the pitching?
Yeah, and that's something you have to wonder about too, because say you have like the kids who are one sport athlete in high school and they focus so much on that sport that they become that good at it, get that scholarship, whatever it might be. It'd be similar to that, where if you're trying to do multiple things, you're taking attention away from what you're best at. In the long run, you're probably, even if it's just costing yourself extra scholarship money or something for college, in the long run, you're probably hurting yourself by doing that.
It's a lot deeper than just make the pitchers hit or not.
Exactly.
But it's definitely interesting. I feel like we haven't heard really that side of it.
It's always just us bitching about it. I want to switch gears real quick, though. Monday is the trade deadline in the MLB already. Tell us, what are the Pirates doing, if anything? Are they got anything cooking for this trade deadline or what?
Are we going to get another Chris Archer?
Yeah.
No, I hope the heck not. I do think that they're going to try to be extremely active by Monday. I will be very surprised if Derek Holland is not moved since he's a pending free agent. If Keone Kela is healthy, and that appears to be a pretty big if right now, I also believe he'll be moved again, pending free agent. And I think Adam Frazier, I'd be pretty surprised if he's still here by September 1st from everything I've heard. I know in the offseason there's a big push by the Pirates to try and trade Adam Frazier, and it didn't happen. They didn't find a deal they liked. But I think right now more than ever they have the incentive to move him with you want to get Newman in the lineup. Eric Gonzalez has played well this year. You want to get him at bats. I clearly want to get Cole Tucker at bats. I've had him out there almost every day the last few weeks in the outfield. And an easy way to free up the bats for all those guys is to move Frazier, because Frazier's got 2 more years of control. So he'd have a good amount of value at the deadline due to that and his positional flexibility. And he's not part of your long-term future. Kevin Newman, you think probably is. I know that from what I've heard talking to a few scouts around the league that we know, that the Pirates front office thinks that Cole Tucker can be an absolute superstar at shortstop. So they're going to want to get him at bats at shortstop. So I do think Frazier goes, and I won't be surprised if we see another pitcher move, maybe Trevor Williams, but his value probably took a big hit today.
Yeah. His ERA jumped like 3 points, didn't it?
Yeah, but again, with Williams, I think part of that too is what you're getting in him at this point, because he's got a track record of 3 pretty strong years under his belt. I think if Joe Musgrove is healthy, there's a good shot we'd see him move as well.
Do you like Joe?
I like Joe a lot. I think very highly of him. Personally, I would rather see the Pirates try and work on an extension with him than trade him. But at the same time, I think this is one deadline where you might see teams get a little more aggressive, a little more stupid to an extent, because so many teams are in it this year.
Yeah,
and with there being so few teams that are true sellers, you have the Pirates, you have the Red Sox, probably the Mariners, and that's probably about it. Maybe the Giants of teams that are 100% going to sell. That really takes away from the pitching market. And every team that's a contender is always looking for pitching. So that's why I think you would see if Musgrove is healthy, there's a good shot to be moved. But ultimately, I think by next Monday, I think you're going to see Holland go. You're going to see Adam Frazier go. If he was healthy, if he is healthy, you're going to see Kella go. I wouldn't be surprised to see Williams go. And I don't think, I mean, maybe one of their other bullpen arms, like maybe like Richard Rodriguez, I could see a team looking for bullpen help, maybe asking on him. But other than that, I don't see. Josh Bell's a name that's going to come up, but I think ultimately they're better served waiting to the offseason to try and move Bell, just because then you're going to have every team in baseball is going to be in on him. It won't be just the buyers. And also by then you probably know if you're going to have the designated hitter in the National League next year or not. And
Yeah.
I think, if you do that, National League teams are going to be a lot more interested in him than they are now. Like right now, you would probably be hesitant because what if you lose the DH? You don't want to play him at first. So, I think you're better off waiting to the offseason on Bell. But I do expect them to try and be extremely active between now and next Monday, because I think what Ben Cherington wants to do, what he's been trying to do since he took over back in November, is to really kind of blow this thing up and build it the way he wants to build it. And he's got a good track record of doing that in Boston. He played a big role in Toronto building up one of the best farm systems in baseball in recent years. So I'm on board with him doing that because he has proven in his career he can identify and develop talent. But I do expect them to definitely at least attempt to be one of the more active teams in baseball in the next week.
Yeah, and that's great. I mean, all those names, I could see being sent out, but who would be somebody that, like, would we get a name? Would we get players back? Are we getting picks? Or
Well, I guess that ties into my question too. Is like, what's the biggest necessity for the Pirates right now? Like, what do they need?
I was gonna say they're
Pitching?
they're 14th in the MLB in runs, and they're 13th in the MLB in hits. I just saw. So it's like their offense seems to be okay, even though they're average. I don't believe that. So it's like the pitching. Come on, bro. We need pitching.
Yeah.
Well, I think where a lot of it's going to come in is you're not – this is where Kella being injured could really screw them over because he was your best trade chip. I mean, he is a borderline elite back end of the bullpen arm. He's proven it in the past. And teams are – this time of year will give up more than they probably should for an arm like that. I think one thing that will hurt them, and this is something I think will push them to trade Adam Frazier, is the pieces you have – aren't going to net you a major return right now unless you'd move like a Frazier or a Trevor Williams. I mean, like in a Holland trade, if you could get, a potential maybe down the road back end of the rotation or a bullpen arm, you'd be happy because you're giving up a 34-year-old veteran for 1 month who has struggled in recent years. I think what will be very interesting to watch is there's been some reports the last couple of days about the Blue Jays checking in on the availability of Trevor Williams. And I know in the offseason that the Blue Jays were interested in Frazier. And I think trading with the Blue Jays would make a lot of sense because since Cherington was the assistant general manager there in recent years, he knows that farm system inside and out. He knows, who he would want to get. I think if something would happen with the Blue Jays, to give you a name, I think Gabriel Moreno would be a name to watch. He's a catching prospect they have at single A. He's like the 8th or 9th prospect in their system, but actually they're second-rated catching prospect. So the Blue Jays probably would be willing to move him. And the Pirates, since Ben Cherington has got here, they have looked all over the place trying to find that next catching prospect because that is – the Pirate farm system is actually in a lot better shape than a lot of people probably think, but they don't have anything strong in terms of catching prospects. So I do think if they move Frazier or Williams or say they would – wind up moving Bell or Musgrove, they're going to try and get a catching prospect back in return. I know they really wanted to get a catching prospect in the Marte trade, and it just didn't happen. So I think catching prospects would be one thing to watch. Again, like you guys said, everything pitching. It's a combination of, you can never have too much pitching, and it's clear this team still needs a lot of pitching help, especially in the bullpen. I mean, honestly, if they could get someone who could be a bullpen arm for 3 or 4 years, I would be thrilled because I do think there is some potential there with Jeff Hartlieb, with Blake Cederlin when we see him. Chris Stratton looks like he's really figured something out this year. So you've got a decent little core in your bullpen. If you could throw another arm or two there, I think you'd be in good shape. So I think, again, catching prospects, bullpen arms would be things to watch. With teams, I think Toronto, they'll talk to. I think Atlanta, they need starting pitching. Houston needs pitching. Texas needs pitching. A lot of teams need pitching. So I think that they'll be no stone left unturned by Ben Cherington in the next week.
And you say the contenders go out and get the pitching, and that's why I just laugh every day that the Pirates went out and got Chris Archer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still – and, like, the thing is with Archer, like, at the time, I loved that trade. I think most people did.
I think a lot of people did.
You gave up Glasnow, who was not good with the Pirates, and it was very obvious he needed to change the scenery. So even
Like
if he
Garrett
went on
Cole.
– even if he went on and became good, it was going to kind of be like whatever, because obviously it just wasn't going to work in Pittsburgh. And I was hesitant about giving up Meadows, but to that point, Meadows had not proved he could stay healthy. He was constantly hurt. And I was
Maybe
like,
he
okay,
was trying to get out.
yeah, you still have Marte. Yeah, you still have Marte. You still had Polanco, who at the time was having the best season of his career. You had Corey Dickerson still. So I was like, all right, they didn't give up that much, and just it's like even had Meadows and Glasnow and Shane Baz gone to Tampa and still been successful, had Archer been successful, you wouldn't really bat an eye at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
and we talk about it often how much we hate the fact that Glasnow and Meadows are just killing it now.
yeah.
And
And, like,
Charlie
honest-
Morton.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I was the
Garrett
world's biggest.
Cole.
When Charlie Morton was in Pittsburgh, I loved that guy. I
He
always
was
said
sick.
fans did not appreciate how good he actually was. And then he leaves and people just bitch nonstop about them getting rid of him. I'm like, well, when he was here, nobody wanted him. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
But no, even with the Archer thing, I think that is another area where they're really getting hurt at this deadline. If Archer was healthy this year, even if he was struggling he's Chris Archer. He's going to eat innings. Somebody would give up something for him. I have no doubts in my mind. So they're also suffering by not having Archer to shop at the deadline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, it'd be ideal to get him to a contender and get something back.
Exactly.
So which brings me to my next point then. You mentioned, the Pirates farm system is actually a lot better than people give it credit for. Like, at what point do we expect anybody, to be moved up? Like, what are we fucking waiting for? We got
Nick
nothing
Gonzalez,
to lose.
Cabrian Hayes, Quinn Priester is from the city right by us. Would love to see. I mean, no, he's young, but it's like, let's get going.
Yeah, I have been beating this drum quite a bit on Twitter recently about Ke'Bryan Hayes.
Especially him, yeah.
Yeah, there's no reason for him to still be in the minors because you've already passed the service time date. So if you call him up now, you're going to have 7 years of service time no matter what. And there's no Super 2 date this year. Excuse me, there's no Super 2 date this year because of the abbreviated season. So if you don't bring him up by the end of the year, they're going to wait to the Super 2 date next year, which everyone – I hate it, but every team does that. Like, you can bitch about the Pirates all you want, but every team does it. You're not going to see him until the Super 2 date. So you're not going to see him until June of 2021. Him being in the minor leagues or an alternate training site or whatever it's going to be is not going to do him any good. He needs to be up here.
Yeah.
He'd already be by far your best defensive third baseman. And
offensively.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like offensively, Colin Moran's been awesome this year, but is that
Put him at
sustainable?
first.
Exactly. You can put him at first anyway. You can put him at DH.
Shop Josh Bell.
Yeah, I have no idea if Moran's power surge is sustainable because he's never done this before. I hope it is because if it is, you have your cleanup hitter for the next 3 or 4 years, and the Garrett Cole trade looks a lot better, but you don't know if it is or not. And odds are Hayes would be your best offensive third baseman as well right now. So I don't understand why he's not up. I don't understand why Blake Cederlin's not up in this bullpen. I think next year you're really going to start to see the next wave of these prospects. I would expect to see O'Neal Cruz at some point next season. I think you probably could see Travis Swaggerty at some point next season. And then you roll into the following season. That's when you're going to start hearing about, your Quinn Priesters, Tanaj Thomas, Brennan Malone starting to get up into AA and AAA and knock on the door. So for me personally, when I'm looking at a farm system, I tend to want to be more aggressive with hitters than pitchers because I think you're a lot less likely to screw a hitter up long term by calling him up too soon than a pitcher. So, like I said, I think you'll see – I still think we're going to see Hayes at some point this year. It's just frustrating he's not here yet. Yeah. I think you're going to see Blake Cederlin this year. And, again, just frustrating he's not here yet. And I think we'll see O'Neal Cruz next year. I think we'll see Travis Swaggerty next year. And I really do think that as we get into kind of the flip forward a calendar year, you get into late August of next year, I think we'll really start to see that young core start to come to be at the Major League roster with Ke'Bryan Hayes, Brian Reynolds, Cruz, Swaggerty, Kevin Newman. At that point, I mean, Nick Gonzalez seems like a very advanced hitter. He could probably be up to maybe AA by that time. So you could have guys like him starting to knock on the door. You can see guys, again, like I said, with Priester and Malone and Tanash Thomas starting to move up the system pretty quickly. So I do think that within the next calendar year, you're going to start to see a lot of those guys reach the major leagues and be on the doorstep of the major leagues more so. But, I think it's just frustrating right now because you have Hayes and Cedarland who would already be better than a lot of the guys on your roster who, for whatever reason, just are not here.
Right. And, yeah, you said Brian Hayes you would expect to be up this season, and I'm on the Pirates MLB prospects, and they say the ETA for all these prospects, and Brian Hayes is the only one that's 2020. Him and Jared Oliva.
Yeah, Jared Oliva is another one I'd like to see.
Oliva, yeah, sorry.
Personally, I think his ceiling is probably a really good fourth outfielder. But, you got Gerard Dyson, who's going to be a free agent in center field hitting $150 or whatever it is. Let's get him up here, see what he can do. Because it's if he comes up and he hits, great. Moving forward, you can put him in center. You can become a fourth outfielder when Swaggerty gets here, whatever it might be. And if he comes up and doesn't do well, then you know what you have in him. You need to learn what you have in these guys. So, again, we'll see what happens. I think that if we get to the other side of the trade deadline, regardless of what happens, we're going to see Hayes come up. We're going to see Cedarland come up. And it's very frustrating to say with Hayes. And it'd be different, too. Like we said earlier about them trying to move Adam Frazier. If Adam Frazier played third base and that's why Hayes wasn't here, I would totally understand it because you're trying to showcase a guy for a trade. But he's not being blocked by someone you're looking to move. And like you said, Mike, you can with Colin Moran, you can move him to first base. He can be your designated hitter if he keeps hitting. There's still ways to get Colin Moran in the lineup if Brian Hayes is a third base. So it's just frustrating to see it. I don't understand it. I mean, I understand with Hayes and with Cedarland, they both tested positive for COVID when summer camp started, but they've both been working out the alternate site for 3-4 weeks now. So they got to be game shape at this point. So that's we'll see. I think we'll see them, but until we see them, it's going to continue to be frustrating.
Yes, 100%, 100%. Switching gears again. You mentioned earlier that you had your own podcast, the Rum Bunter podcast.
Correct.
How often do you do that?
We normally do 2 episodes a week. Typically, they'll come out on Mondays and Fridays. It all depends. Last week, we only did 1 episode. One of our staff writers, his name is Trey Yanity. He does a terrific job. He does all the editing for the podcast, and then he's a senior in college, University of Alabama. So he moved back in school last week, so we did 1 episode. But typically, we shoot for 2 episodes a week, and we try to get guests on when we can. We had Michael McHenry on with us a few weeks ago. We did a trade deadline special episode last week, and we planned on if anything goes down in terms of trades, trying to hurry up and get an episode in as quickly as we can after to talk about it. But the podcast thing's actually pretty new to us. We didn't start doing it until May.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, it was something we'd wanted to do for a while, but it's just between being busy and Nick and I weren't great at the editing aspect of it. So when Trey reached out to us about it, we were like, absolutely, man. And we brought him on board. So he does an awesome job. He actually works in school. He internships with the SEC network. So he's pretty good
nice.
with all the technology and all that. So
knows what he's doing.
he definitely does. It amazes me because you guys know how it is sometimes when we record and there's shit going on in the background and he just knocks it off. The one day I was recording, sitting by my living room window, had the window open, his motorcycle go down the road 100 miles an hour. And I couldn't even hear them, but then you listen to it and he has it all edited out. I'd never be able to do that, but he's good at what he does. So it makes it easy for us.
Yeah, we kind of just fly by the seat of our fucking pants over here.
That's how we would have been. So
everything I know I've had to look up online, and that's just even that is
that goes for me in life.
Yeah. I feel you. It's people always tell you, you get married and have kids and figure things out. And I'm like, dude, I'm married and have 2 kids, and I live every day just winging it minute by minute. So
everybody's improvising.
Yeah,
it is.
It's funny, growing up your whole life, you're always like, man, grown-ups just know it all. They know everything,
Yeah.
When you're 5, you think your parents know everything there is to know.
Yeah.
And then you get to we're 26, 27 now. It's like nobody has any fucking idea what's going on. Nobody knows what they're doing.
Yeah. You become one of said grown-ups and you realize man, they're really good at putting on a front.
Yeah.
It's like when people think you have your shit together.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all about acting like you have your shit together.
It really is.
Okay. Well, We have some trivia questions for you. I'm not sure if you're up to it, unless you two have any other questions for Marty here. But we want to test your knowledge on Pittsburgh sports. Mostly, I mean, Michael, I don't know what kind of cards you pulled there, but get some baseball ones in there, I'm sure.
Yeah, we got some decent ones here. I mean,
All
this.
right.
So it's like the questions I asked them. It's like I asked them ones that I would know myself, or I would think I would know. So they're pretty easy, and pretty sure you would
Something
know.
tells me you'll do a little bit better.
So it's like this first one, like who drafted in 2004 first round Pittsburgh kid?
Oh, Neil Walker.
No question. So like,
Yeah.
obviously.
I would have just guessed on that one to Neil Walker.
That's a Steelers one.
Yeah, I guess you're not going to know any Steelers. Being
Well, I mean, to an extent, because I mean, everybody I know pretty much is Steelers fans, so I still
right. I guess that's
watch
fair.
them pretty regularly, and they're on TV here. Fortunately, they don't broadcast very many Minnesota Viking games in Western Pennsylvania, so it's a lot of listening on the radio and watching when they're on national TV.
Yeah, I bet.
Dude, shout out to Neil Walker because every time, I watched him play in preseason against the Pirates, and dude, they were basically giving him a standing ovation every time he won.
He's so sick, dude.
People in Pittsburgh love him.
Dude, they love him. They're like, Neil,
He's a Pittsburgh kid.
Like, it was one of those things. Like,
It's in his
Walker
name.
was very good, but like the way, and it was, he's from here, so you're gonna get that. A lot of people know his family and that sort of thing. But the way Pirate fans held him up, like you would have thought he was like Jose Altuve, like best second baseman in baseball.
Seriously though. Here, what starting pitcher's 1 year stint with the Pirates ended with him taking the loss in the 2014 NL wildcard game?
Edison Volquez.
Bang.
A game he had no business starting. I still pissed.
Never
about that
in a
decision.
million fucking years would
Yeah,
those two names have ever.
dude, that-
Edison Volquez would have come out of my mouth.
Dude, that sounded like a fucking layup.
Yeah, so you got anything harder than that, dude?
Well, here we go. You know, like will Pirates history be a little tougher?
It might be. Depends.
Well,
Guess we'll find out.
Let's see. What Pirates center fielder known for his throwing arm won 5 consecutive Gold Gloves from 1988 to 1992?
Andy Van Slyke.
Bang.
Well, in all fairness, I mean, like what you're a little older than us. It sounds like, so you might know that.
Only by
Yeah.
he's 1 year older than Tapia.
Oh,
Also,
well, never mind.
Whenever I was younger, when he played for the Pirates, Jim Leland was his manager, and when Leland was the manager of the Tigers, Van Slyke was like his first base coach or something. So every time the Pirates were the Tigers, that's all you'd hear the broadcasters talk about the entire
Van
series
Slyke,
was
yeah.
Leland and Van Slyke. Yeah. And then there was, I forget which game it was, one playoff game a few years ago was that Van Slyke also threw out the first pitch. So he's someone who's still around the Pirates
Right.
a lot, even though he no longer plays.
That was
Keep
impressive.
that in mind, guys.
I know.
Uh, here we go. I've never heard of this name in my life, so this one's got to be tough.
We'll see.
In 1972, the Pirates retired uniform number 20 in tribute to what third baseman who played his entire 17-year career?
He already knows the answer.
I do. Pie
Yeah.
trainer.
Yeah.
You were halfway through the
trainer.
question, bro.
He was already
I mean,
smiling.
As soon
Because
as
he
you said
just
the number,
number
I knew,
20, yeah. I mean, I
Again,
wouldn't have
it-
known that, but
With that, we have partial season tickets to the Pirates, and most years I'm at like 20 to 30 games a year, and they have the names and numbers, around the concourse.
Oh,
So you're constantly looking at it too. So it's hard to like. There are players on there that like prior to me seeing them up there, I had no idea who they were. It's not like I looked into them and stuff, but
Right.
yeah, whenever you're constantly looking at that 25 times a year from your seats in the ballpark, you're gonna have those names engraved in your head.
that's
that's
decent.
That's fair.
Again, just because Giolito threw a no-hitter. What Pirates pitcher threw a no-hitter against the Dodgers August 9th, 1979?
I think that was Candelaria.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
bet it was.
It was, if I remember correctly, that game was on national TV on like ABC or something.
Who is
too.
this
It was
guy?
a big deal.
You weren't born then.
No, but
Pirates.
I'm just fucking with you.
yeah, I don't know. That's all I said. If like useless sports knowledge was useful, I'd be a millionaire.
What was that TV show back in the day? It was Beat the Swan or something, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh shit, what was that called? It was on like ESPN News or something real strange.
That's back when ESPN was pretty dope.
Yeah, it was like Beat the Swami or something like that.
I don't know. I'll have to look.
Yeah,
it
I
up
know what
here.
you're talking about though. Yeah, because the guy knew like all this like random sports stuff, and you would go in there and try and beat him, and like it was like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire type setup.
Yeah.
Here's a pretty random one. What lefty made his Pirates debut on July 28th, 2012, recording a no decision against his former team, the Houston Astros?
July 28th, 2012.
Lefty Pirate made his debut, got a no decision against the Astros.
Wandy Rodriguez.
Yeah. Who is this guy?
He hasn't gotten a single one wrong.
Dude, you're like blowing my mind.
Do I throw in a Steelers one to try to throw him off his groove?
Yeah.
Go for it. Let's see.
Let's see.
Okay. In 2011, in a 2011 game against the Cardinals, what wide receiver connected with Big Ben on a 95-yard touchdown, the longest in Steelers history?
Jesus. 2011. I don't know if this is right, but I think he was on the team, and I know he was like fast as hell, so I'm gonna guess Mike Wallace.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Ty just left.
Yeah.
He's out of here.
Dude. He better not come back because I don't think he's ever got a question right.
Yeah, that's true.
Listen, why you're not at every single bar, well, I mean, you got a family and shit, so like, but you should be at every single bar, every single night for every trivia night.
It is funny because my wife and I talked about this recently. We said one of the things we miss most about like the pre-COVID era is doing like that sort of stuff. Like we can't wait for everything to, because in Pennsylvania right now, like bars are like completely shut down. Like you can go in, but you cannot sit at a bar, and you can only drink if you order food. And there's like certain, like you can't just order like a bag of chips. Like it has to be an actual meal. So like things, but no, it is funny you said that because my wife and I were just talking about that recently, how much we miss doing that. So
that's hilarious.
It'd be dope to find a spot that it's only Pittsburgh trivia.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. I mean, I'm sure there's got to be somewhere that does that.
If not, we can create it.
If there's not, E-Entertainment does it.
There it is.
All right, Grover, why don't you give him one or two more here?
That one's easy as shit, obviously. Let me just grab a 7 card here. 7's the hardest, apparently. In 1964, what Pirates pitcher edged out Bob Gibson to lead the National League in strikeouts?
64. Bob Veal?
Yeah.
I couldn't remember his first name. As soon as he was a big strikeout guy. So when he said that, I knew it was Veal. It just took me a second to remember his first name.
God.
Last one, just because 1909 seems like so long ago. In 1909, what Pirates pitcher became the first rookie to start and win Game 7 of the World Series, a feat not repeated until 2002?
Oh, jeez.
I hope I stump this guy right here. Marty needs to be taken down.
So that's pretty fucking sick.
Yeah, it's impressive as hell.
1909 World Series. That's when they won their first World Series.
1909, first rookie to start and win.
This is a total and complete shot in the dark. I don't even know if he's a rookie that year. I just know he pitched for the Pirates in the early part of the century. I'm going to guess Wilbur Cooper.
No.
Stumped him.
It was Babe Adams.
I never would have got that.
Only took it back to 1909 to stump him.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's impressive as hell. And Wilbur, you say Wilbur Cooper?
Cooper, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen his name on
a
few of these cards.
The only two players from, and I don't even know if Cooper was on that team. I just know he played around that general time. The only two players from that time I would have got would be him and Honus Wagner. So that's too far back for me.
Yeah, it's a long time ago. But still, your knowledge on the Pirates and their history is extremely impressive.
It was very mind-blowing. But yeah, let's just wrap this up, man. We'll end on that note. Thanks so much for coming on, dude. This has been
guys.
awesome.
I appreciate it. It was a blast. Anytime.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be in touch. Let everyone know one more time where to find you, your blog, your podcast, all of it.
We're
at it's rumbunter.com. We're part of the fan-sided network of sports blogs. So just rumbunter.com. On Twitter, we're at rumbunter. And the Rum Bunter podcast, you can find it on Spreaker.com. We're also on Apple Music.
Beautiful.
Or Apple iTunes, or Apple Podcasts, excuse me.
Whatever, Apple.
Yeah, whatever the hell,
you
Apple,
get it.
whatever. Go on Apple, find iTunes or find podcast. You'll find us.
Yeah, you get it. Well, I'm sure we'll be in touch soon. We'll have to talk some Pirates in the near future here. Make sure to check us out too, yinsertainment.com. Go there. The links are there for the podcast and social media at Yins Daily on the social. All right, man. Well, thanks again. And we will be back next week. Episode 140. Well, I guess next week will be 146. Cool.
Yeah.
Got that right. All right. Thanks again, man. Take care.
And take it easy, guys.
You too, bro.